guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I was dreading, well not dreading, more like debating whether to film it, and I decided why not. Today's video is going to be my least favorite books of the year, so like for each month the one that I liked the least. The book that I'm going to name, it doesn't mean that it was a bad book, it just was my least favorite of that month. I'm gonna share my star rating for each of these books and maybe just why it wasn't my favorite. But also remember that if you love that book, good for you. Like, I'm really happy. I wish I had loved it. And you can read whatever the hell you want, and you can like whatever the hell you want. Let's just get started. I'm looking at the list right now, and they're all books that I pretty much enjoyed, but I just like it didn't stood out too much, or it wasn't like the best thing I've read. Maybe I thought it was a bit boring, etc, etc. So we're just gonna get started. I'm gonna try to give a short reason as to why I didn't like it too much, but I'm very bad at explaining myself. For me, it's like if I love a book, I loved it because I loved it, and if I didn't like a book, I didn't like a book because I just didn't like it. But I try my best to give you a reason. And this is no hate to like the authors or anything. Like, I'm not really the kind to just like, okay, I didn't like that book from that author, so I'm not gonna read any other books from that author. It's more just like, I didn't like this one, but maybe I'll like her next one, you know? Let's start with January. In January, I read 5 books, and my least favorite was Red Queen. Now, I filmed a vlog where I read Red Queen. And I remember in that vlog, I was saying how much I was liking it. It was surprising how much I liked it and blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, weeks kind of passed, months, and then I was unhauling books. I looked at that one and I was like, do I care if I have it or not? And I thought, no, I don't care. So I got rid of it, and I really don't regret that. I also don't plan on reading the rest of the series. Like, it was okay, but not as good as I was hoping. And I think I was generous in that vlog where I said that I was loving it, because back then I rated it 4 stars, and now I think I rate it like 2.5. So yeah. Okay, for February, I read like 10 books in February, and it was kind of hard to choose my least favorite. My least favorite was Love and Other Disasters. That book had a lot of potential, especially like for me, because I love books about like food and baking shows or cooking shows, and that's what that book was. It just like, I remember reading it and just being like, okay, this is good, but like, can it be done now? So out of all the books that I've read in February, it just was my least favorite. It wasn't a bad book. I rated it 3 stars, I think, and that still stands too, but it just wasn't my favorite. I'm all nervous because I don't like talking negatively about books, but like, it's fine, it's fine. I gotta be honest, right? I do want to read more of that author's books. I don't really know if they have any out right now, or if there's any like new ones coming out soon. I need to check that out, but like, I'm not giving up on an author just because of one book. In March, this one, I don't think it's that I didn't like it. I think it's that it was underwhelming. Maybe it was like overhyped for me. I was expecting much more. And that book was In Deeper Waters. I feel so sad. I read it, but I kind of like read it quick because I just wanted to be done with it. And I didn't really feel the need to go get the next book in that series. But I could maybe give it another try and annotate it, because I've noticed that when I annotate books, I tend to like them better because I'm like taking notes, and it's like a whole different experience, you know? So maybe I'll give it another chance. But when I read it, I think I gave it like a 3 stars or a 3.5. In April, Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. It just was really boring, and it just didn't hit the mark for me, really. That's all I can say about it. I give it 3 stars, I think. 2.5 or 3. Yeah. May, my least favorite, I wouldn't say like, this is definitely an example of like, it doesn't mean that it was a bad book, it's just my least favorite of the month, but it was still really good. And that's Soul Eater, which is a manga about these people that are working with like the Grim Reaper, and they need to like collect souls for some reason that I'm forgetting. So it's really interesting. It just wasn't my favorite of the month. I rated it 4 stars, and that still stands. I might keep going with the series, we'll see. In June, my least favorite was The Romantic Agenda. That is another book that had a lot of potential and I enjoyed it for the most part, but I just thought the main character was really annoying and I was annotating it and I remember writing a lot of complaints about the main character. I was like, why is she doing that? Why is she thinking like that? And I don't know. I think I rated it 4 stars. Might take it down to like a 3.5. Next is July with The Layover. Now that book is like just like an okay book. Like it just wasn't amazing, wasn't bad. It just like wasn't right in the middle. Pretty simple. And that's why it's my least favorite. But I did read some like amazing books in July. So like the bar was set high for July and The Layover just like wasn't up there with the other ones. But still a good book. It was okay. Like a 3.5 star read. In August, I wanted to be like every girly out there and read The Summer I Turned Pretty. And unfortunately, it was my least favorite of August. Like, it was okay, but again, just really didn't hit the mark for me. It was just okay. It didn't really stood out too much. I don't have much to say about that one. It's like a 3-star read and I'm not gonna read the rest of the series. Probably not. So yeah. I do want to watch the show. I think the show might be better. In September, definitely not a bad book. I really enjoyed it and I did buy the next book in the series. But that is Arsenic and Adobo. Again, it's just my least favorite of the month, so I really liked it, but maybe just not as much as the other ones. It was a fun, cozy mystery. It just like didn't stand out like the other ones in September. Next we have Juniper and Thorn in October. That book to me was just boring until the last 40 pages. And that's really all I can say about that book, really. Like, I was expecting so much more from what I've heard from people. And then I read it, first few pages, interesting. The whole middle part, like the whole maybe 300 pages, really boring. Really like, why is this here? What are we doing? It didn't seem really to go forward. And then the last 40 pages when like the big plot twist happened, that was good. I think that was like a 3-star read. November was Accidentally Amy. That book was just really cringy and it bothered me. It's a 3-star read, still a good concept, still enjoyable. It's still Lynn Painter too. I love her. So I'd recommend it, but still things that I didn't really like. And finally we have December, and I think this is the one book that I really disliked. Like the other ones I did enjoy, just not too much. But this one, no. That was 'Tis the Season for Revenge. The concept of it was great. An ex-girlfriend wanting to take revenge over a guy. Pretty much definition of toxic masculinity. Amazing. Love to see that. The love interest kept calling her a whore during intercourse and I didn't really like that. Maybe I just haven't read enough like dark, spicy romance to really appreciate that one, but honestly made me uncomfortable about reading it. That was a 2-star read. I almost DNF'd it, but I DNF'd 2 books in December, so I didn't want to have a third one. Oh, and by the way, these are all books that I finished, not DNF'd. So I did DNF some books, but I'm not counting them as my least favorite because I didn't finish them. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video, not at the end. So yeah, those are all my like least favorite books for each month of the year. Let me know if you read these and if you like them, because if you did like them, good for you. I love that for you. But for me, it just like didn't hit the mark and I just read better books during those months. If you made it to the end of this video, comment down this emoji. I'd love to know who made it to the end. And please don't be mad at me in the comments if I mention a book that you love. We all have our opinions and I respect yours, so please respect mine. On that note, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry about the weird lighting. It's like snowy and gloomy outside, so it's not the best. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.